Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March the 20th, 2025. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. We had a good Thursday. Work went well. No complaints. Gym went well. No complaints there as well. Shoulders feeling pretty good overall, so we love that. I'd say the only thing that I have is worry, a little bit of dread, mainly just because, yeah, I mean, in kind of classic fashion, at least, compared to last year, the money's kind of running out, right? Like I've run out of my bonus money, my tax return money, and we're looking at the bills, we're looking at what can we afford, what can we do, and yeah, it kind of gets me a little sweaty, kind of gets me a little worried. But hey, I mean that's living life, that's living day to day, check to check. But that being said, I try not to let things like that bog me down too much, not get too worried about it, right? You just kind of got to take things as they come. But yeah, no, overall, though, today was good outside of me just being in my head pretty much. But yeah, let's go ahead and do our startup and we can get into some news. All right. Whew. Starting off with a story from NBC News. Georgetown University graduate student detained by immigration authorities. Federal immigration authorities have detained a graduate student from India who was teaching at Georgetown University on a student visa, his attorney said Wednesday. Masked agents arrested the student, Badar Khan Suri, outside his home in Arlington, Virginia on Monday night, attorney Hassan Ahmad said. The agents identified themselves as being with the Department of Homeland Security and told him the government had revoked his visa. Ahmad called Suri's detention beyond contemptible and said he had done nothing wrong. Ahmad said he spoke with Suri on spoke with Suri on Wednesday night, and that Suri was grateful for the support he had received since his arrest. Suri is sent to appear before an immigration judge in Los Fresnos, Texas, in May for his deportation proceedings, according to his attorney. Separately, Suri filed a habeas corpus petition in federal court in Alexandria, Virginia, in hopes of being released from detention. The petition is currently under seal, and NBC News has yet to review the copy. According to NBC News, News's review of public records, Suri does not have a criminal record and does not face known criminal charges. Georgetown said it was not aware of any misconduct by Suri. The Department of Homeland Security and the State Department did not respond to requests for comment, including about why Suri had been detained. Assistant DHS, which is Department of Homeland Security Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, said on X in response to the Politico story that Suri was actively spreading Hamas propaganda and promoting anti-Semitism on social media. She also alleged that Suri has close connections to a known or suspected terrorist who is a senior advisor to Hamas. Now, to me, this feels bar for bar, pound for pound, like the same way that Israel moves, except they are doing this on a wider scale in America, in the U.S. here. So essentially, we're saying, hey, you have associated in some way, form, fashion with Hamas, with someone we believe is Hamas. It might just be a Palestinian person, and it's just like, hey, no, we're going to just level that up. We're going to round that up into you are associating with a known terrorist. That's what we're saying. Now, Suri is a person who's done a lot of like peace and conflict resolution, internationally. I think he's been to, they say it in the article, but like Iran, he's been to Palestine, Pakistan. Many places kind of doing this kind of activity. And essentially they're trying to use those associations and any potential like push for peace that he might have shared or reposted, a thing that you or I could have done on any given day. And they're trying to say, hey, you are being anti-Semitic. You are promoting terrorism. You are helping terrorists. So for that, we're going to kick you out of the country illegally. We are going to override the law and we are going to deport you. That is essentially what we're doing. It is the same thing that they are doing to Mahmoud Khalil, to another student that has also been detained from Colombia for like having an expired visa, but I mean over the same situation, the same issues. And essentially they are ratcheting up this oppression to try to chill out any kind of protest, any kind of activism, any kind of outreach. There's no words for this. It is crazy the hurdles they are jumping to do this kind of shit. It is completely unnecessary. It does nothing except, once again, just put the fear of God into people so that they don't speak out, they don't talk out. And clearly they are trying to send a message. They are trying to just keep it up, ramp it up. They don't care if a judge says no or not. They're going to keep at this kind of shit. Let's see here. Suri was being held at the Alexandria staging facility in Alexandria, Louisiana, awaiting an immigration hearing, according to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, or detainee locator. Ahmad confirmed his location. Let's see here. His biography says he completed his PhD in Peace and Conflict Studies at the Nelson Mandela Center for Peace and Conflict Resolution at Jamia Manila, I'm going to say Manila, Islamia in New Delhi in 2020. He wrote his thesis on transitional democracy, divided societies, and prospects for peace, a study of state building in Afghanistan and Iraq. Georgetown said it has not been told why Suri has been detained. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll ahead a little bit. Suri has traveled extensively in the conflict zones in India, Pakistan, Iran, Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, and Palestinian areas, his university profile says. His Georgetown profile says he's an interdisciplinary scholar whose areas of interest are religion, violence, and peace, ethnic conflicts, and peace processes in the Middle East and South Asia. The university says Suri is working on a project that looks into potential causes that hinder cooperation among religiously diverse societies and possibilities to overcome those hindrances. Suri's attorney has filed a petition for a writ of habeas corpus in federal court in Virginia, seeking to determine whether his detainment is lawful. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy if they're doing this to a scholar, a person of peace. Imagine who they would do this to. They will do this to anyone and everyone they can. And once again, I know that people think, well, this is a person who's abusing their rights as, I guess in their head, it's like an honorary American, even though these people have to go through more hoops, put up more money to be a U.S. citizen. They think that this is an isolated thing, and that if you are just an American citizen, then you're fine. If you're a U.S. born citizen, you're fine, I think is in some of these people's minds. But no, it doesn't matter. And then maybe for the other people, it's like, well, as long as you're not one of those radical liberals, as long as you're not one of those leftists, then you're going to be fine. And it's like, man, it won't matter at some point. Eventually, they're going to lock up anyone who even has a whiff of disagreements with them. And it shouldn't even have to get there for you to understand this is a fucked up thing. Because once again, this is your fellow man we are talking about, and he's doing nothing wrong. And essentially, because of that, you are going to try to say, hey, since you're going against this status quo, this narrative that, my God Emperor is saying, my orange man, then you don't deserve to be an American citizen. But that's just not how America works. That's just not how it works. That it is against the bedrock of our goddamn Constitution to do this kind of shit. So obviously it's really fucked up. It's really infuriating. So I just wanted to kind of start off with that, and we can kind of move along. But I'll keep you posted. Sadly, there's more and more of these stories, though, and I think that's another reason why I wanted to cover this, is because I want to show and talk about the fact that this is not just a one-off. This is not just it's just this guy. He was just at the campus and saying way too much, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, like they're going to keep doing this shit. This is the trial sample package they're rolling out to see what's going to happen, see what the blowback's going to be. This is just the beginning. They mean what they fucking say, and they're going to keep doing this shit, and they're going to ramp it up more and more and more and more and more. Anyway, let's talk about, I guess, depending on who you are, maybe I'm a bit biased, but you can say this is a bit of good news. Maybe not, but either way, from The Guardian, Tesla backer says Musk must reduce Trump work as 46,000 Cybertrucks recalled. Tesla and Elon Musk are embroiled in a brand tornado crisis moment, and the electric car maker's chief executive needs to cut back on his work for Donald Trump to stem the damage. One of the company's biggest supporters has said. The warning came as Tesla announced a recall of 46,000 Cybertrucks in the U.S. on Thursday to fix an exterior panel that could detach while driving. So that's not safe. That's not okay. You definitely wouldn't want that to happen. On Wednesday, protesters said they were planning what they described as the biggest day of action yet against the EV maker, with 500 demonstrations expected at Tesla showrooms around the world on March 29th. It also emerged that the Vancouver International Auto Show has removed Tesla from its event hours, citing security concerns, which we've talked about a few of them on the podcast. People coming through, doing their fire bombs, blowing up shit, vandalizing. Also, in general, I've seen and heard people get, flack for having their Teslas or their, swastikars, as some people have taken to calling them. Hey, as a certified Tesla hater, I don't feel bad. You know what I mean? Obviously, recalls suck. Whether we're talking about food, whether we're talking about cars. But I've said this before, why would you buy a glorified fucking RC car and expect it to be a fucking good ride? Like, at the core of this, that's the issue, right? Like, it's this bullshit ass fucking dumb EV that people are saying, like, oh yeah, this is the future. I want a car that looks like it's out of GoldenEye, like an N64 game. Like, yeah, this is so cool. It's so rad. A truck that's pretty much not even a fucking truck, can't even handle like a truck. But like, oh, it's kind of sort of bulletproof or whatever Elon Musk told me at some fucking showcase. Like, these people are taking the slob. I don't know what to tell you. So you bought a bad buy, and now you gotta do a stupid recall. Do I feel that bad on this one? No, but I mean, at the same time, you gotta say, hey, yeah, recalls suck. But I like that. When you read this part, Tesla shares have lost a third of their value over the past month because of a number of investor concerns, including the impact on sales from Musk's involvement with the Trump administration, including some federal agencies through his Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. Dan Ives, managing director at the U.S. financial firm Wedbush and a self-described Tesla core bull, aka he is always swiping up. He's always up on Tesla. Said Musk's role leading Doge was damaging the multi-billionaire's personal reputation and the business he runs. And essentially, they are tethered. There's no difference. We've covered, a few times on this pod how literally investors rallied around Ja. In this case, Ja is Elon Musk. And they're saying, we want to give you so much money, and we know you're fleecing us. We don't care. Here's more money. After we've discovered this, we are doubling down. We want to give you more money. We value you at the head of this company. And essentially, Musk is like, yeah, great. I know. I need this money. I deserve this. Thank you. And now, what is he doing? He's essentially spearheading all this gutting of government and all this fucking bullshit. And I think no one was really surprised about it, but at the same time, yes, they were, because they didn't expect him to go this hard. They didn't expect him to start the shit off with like a fucking double Sieg Heil. You know what I mean? I think they didn't expect him to go this deep. And I agree with that guess and assertion. I thought, sure, Elon Musk is going to turn his X platform into a Trump land for him. He's going to signal boost him. Okay, whatever. Now he's more or less adjacent to power. He's going to carve out, regulations and things like that so that his company can only stand to make more money, and it's only going to be a good ending for him. He's not losing. He's only winning out of this bullshit. We're going to be the losers, right? But instead, like I said, he decided to be on his fucking Hitler shit. He decided to fucking go all in, And, he's taking all of this heat that he doesn't need to take. It's gotten so bad that he's got to have fucking put Donald Trump in a Tesla and have him buy the shit, saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to buy one. Also, this is an aside. If I'm not mistaken, Trump already owns a Tesla Cybertruck, unless he gave it away. He got it in the weirdest way. And this is me going on a tangent with, like, Twitch bullshit. But Aiden Ross, known piece of shit, and XQC, who I also say is a piece of shit, they like wanted to hang out. They had this event where they hung out with Donald Trump, and they got him a Tesla. Aiden Ross did this, where he got him a Tesla, and they walk out Donald Trump. This is like during his election run, his campaign, and this is post the first assassination attempt, which is relevant here. And then he goes, "Hey, Donald, like I got, Mr. President, I got you a gift, like, just something that I feel like you'd really appreciate." And it is a Tesla Cybertruck, and it is wrapped in the picture of his assassination, him getting shot in the ear, bro. Like, what kind of weird, odd-ass gift is this? And Trump's like, oh, yeah, this is so cool. Thank you so much. This is a great vehicle. Thank you. It was so surreal, so odd. But anyway, I guess now he might have 2 Teslas. But either way, that's not helping when you literally have people boycotting, fucking demonstrating, having whole ass protests outside of your fucking shit. It's not worth the smoke. Now, some people who, once again, are bullish on Tesla are going to be the Howard Lutnicks of the world. They're going to be like, oh, actually, this is great. You should only see this as a good thing because Tesla stock is at its lowest. It's never going to be so low, which I kind of have this inkling that maybe, and I hate to say this, maybe this is just me hanging out with the devil's advocate for too long. That might be the case because I've seen Tesla take so many hits and somehow they beg the government or they just fucking lower the price of their shit just a little bit, just enough to kind of get the money, or they get enough of it, once again, a kickback from somebody or some country or whatever. And it winds up working out for them. They wind up coming back. That could be the case now. This could be the death knell. Who knows? I will definitely be here to talk about that shit. Keep y'all posted. It's also worth noting, too, that, once again, him hitching his wagon so hard to Trump has also not just hurt him in America. We've talked, once again, just with the firebomb and stuff. France, I think, was, one of the first ones we covered. Circling back to Canada, they have been very anti-Tesla now because of the fact that it's they just see that as once again, Trump is doing all this fucking shit to us, and you got Elon Musk is his buddy in chief. Fuck Tesla then too. And not to mention, they were even in the process, Tesla was even in the process of getting some kind of, I don't want to say, I kind of maybe should use the word alleged rebate scam. But essentially, it seemed like they were kind of, once again, sucking from the government straw that they're trying to winnow out in America to try to get a little bit of extra bucks, to try to flip a couple of cars, a couple of model whatevers. So yeah, to me, I would say the future of Tesla, bit dicey. But once again, I'm not an economist. I don't fucking know. We'll see. Here's hoping, right? Anyway, let's move on to our next story from ABC7 Eyewitness News. Court records reveal alleged payback murder plot against Crestwood Trucking CEO. Now, I got this story from Facebook pretty much. I was scrolling through my feed, and I was allured by this whole mock-up of it where whoever was the poster was saying, oop, looks like we got another Luigi Mangione on our hands. And of course I was intrigued by that. It piqued my interest. Now I'm going to go through the story and maybe just say my 2 cents on why I don't think that's the case. Anyway. Recently filed court records are offering potential clues of a motive behind why a beloved Crestwood Trucking Company CEO was murdered earlier this month by one of his employees. I do love how they do that. He was so beloved. He was a man of the people. His family loved him. He was about his city. Okay, let's get into why this guy gets murdered. But Dan Kotsky, 46, was murdered on March 5th at the offices of his trucking company, ATG Truckload in Crestwood, Illinois. Prosecutors announced on Sunday that they were charging one of Kotsky's long-term employees, Joseph Suklia, 53, with first-degree murder after gathering evidence and conducting employee interviews. Court records lay out an alleged payback murder plot against Koteski. Cook County EMS firefighters were called out to the ATG truckload offices on South Costner Avenue shortly after 4 p.m. on March 5th to reports of a fire in the building. Firefighters said they put out a small fire, a 3-ring binder that was burning, and they discovered the body of Koteski lying face down in a pool of blood. The Cook County Medical Examiner's office would later determine Koteski's throat had been slashed. But Cook County records show investigators quickly zeroed in on employee Suclia as a prime suspect. I'm very curious what the fire part was for. If that was just maybe a distraction from the mind of Suclia there. If he thought it would... Because there's no way in this day and age you thought, hey, I'm going to wind up doing this thing. You know, heat or passion or not, whatever. Okay, yeah, let's start a fire, or is that part of your kind of revenge here? And we'll get to why he was so upset. But like, are you saying fuck you? I'm gonna bring all this down. Like, this is it for me, or was that maybe part of your half baked plan? Maybe that'll come out in court, but we'll see. In the days following the murder, Crestwood Police Chief Kevin Sisk said it was later that night, actually the next day, about 5:15 a.m., the suspect was taken into custody about 2.5 hours away in Holland, Michigan. So, I mean, they quickly tracked him down. They kind of knew what was up. They connected the dots pretty quick, so to speak. Now, let's get to the motive. Let's get to the reasoning. According to charging documents, Suclia was a long-term employee, and Koteski had recently told Suclia that ATG Truckload was going bankrupt. Even though Koteski owed a substantial amount of money to Suclia, Koteski was unable to pay him. Now, ATG Truckload has not formally filed for bankruptcy, according to federal court records, but if you're being told that, one, hey, your career as you know it, it's over, that's a blow. That's already a body blow, right? That's hard to get up from already as is. Next, you're saying, hey, this back pay that I owe you, that is rightfully yours, sorry, it's just all getting dissolved because I'm a greedy piece of shit and I didn't focus on actually making sure that your needs were met as the person who was making my shit happen. I just didn't care enough, so I'm sorry, oopsie-daisy. That to me is enough of a, like, I'm not saying, hey, it's deserved, you're allowed to do this, you get a fucking pass, but you can understand how you hop, skip, and jump into a murder, right? That makes sense. But once again, to kind of bring it back to my top thought, I hate that this is being queued up as like some sort of like clash consciousness awakening moment that is like a domino that we are tracing one into the other, because Mangione shit is his own shit in that regard, and we haven't seen anything that's really boosted that outside of weird phone calls and maybe people getting mad and firebombing some Teslas with a Naruto headband. I mean, that's cool and all, that's, you can say that's a vibe or whatever, but that's not waking up and changing anything. We're not actually going against the system and actually fixing shit here. This is a person who didn't get their fucking money that they were owed and they snapped. To me, that's not the same thing. And maybe you can debate me and say, actually, you can da-da-da-da, and overall, this is like a rising of that thought. Maybe so. Time will tell. History can prove me wrong, and that's fine. But I just, it doesn't add up to me, and I find it to be annoying when I'm scrolling. And I have to say, too, these motherfuckers are sharing the New York Post. I don't even want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Y'all know how I feel about the fucking NYP. But it just feels like it's a warping of the narrative. I don't like that. To me, this is just raw true crime right now. And I don't like that we're trying to like arc this up into more than that. You know, like, we're going to finally take this to the people. Like, no, if you have fucking CEOs that are not giving you at least the bare minimum and maybe a treat or two, yeah, man, you're going to fucking maybe have it coming. Once again, I'm not saying, go kill your local CEO. No, I'm just saying you can understand how, like, people get here. You understand, once again, how people lose it, they snap, they break, and they go, oh, man. So, yeah, I'm curious to see how this is going to play out in trial. But I don't think we're going to find a manifesto or anything like that. No, it's just not the same thing. So that already bugs me. That already bothers me a little bit. But, yeah. Oh, I guess we should read a little bit more. I mean, I usually don't get into the details. But there was, like, a struggle. I think Koteski was on the phone when this happened. And, like, the person on the phone could hear part of it. And then you could hear Koteski asking why to the offender, which we know is Suklia, at least allegedly, and the response being, I had to. Which, once again, this person took everything from you, took your life, and is now not even going to pay you what he owes. Like, did he have to really? No. But once again, this does feel in a lot of ways like a crime of passion kind of beat. But, you know, once again, we'll see how things unfold in court. Definitely, you know, no matter what side of this you're on, murder is murder. It's unfortunate to have to, you know, come and cover it. I know maybe people are like, oh, yeah, nah, bring all of them to the guillotine. But once again, and here's another thing. And my last thing I wanted to say about this, my gripe, is once again, these are people who are saying this and braying for blood the loudest. They're just doing it behind a goddamn keyboard. You aren't putting any real work in. You aren't doing a damn thing. Okay? And you can call me a hypocrite because it's like I say, well, what are you doing? Nothing. I'm just on the fucking microphone yapping because I like doing this shit. It is a part of my catharsis. That's it. I'm not trying to fucking awaken the world. That's just not really my fucking beat, bro. I leave that for the betters. I leave that for my fucking, you know, motherfuckers who have maybe some degrees or just, I don't know, more time to do the shit. But that's not why I'm here, y'all. Like, I need you to understand that that's a difference. I'm not trying to fucking ignite your mind. Not really. These are things that I have beef with. These are stories that interest me. So yeah, that's why I come to the fucking podcast to talk about it. I would like to see an awakening of the people and a clash consciousness, but that's going to be more organized than this. It's not going to be these impulsive moments like a knife in the night. It's not that. And I know some people were like, well, what about this moment? What about that moment? Yeah, all those moments didn't actually lead to the utopia that we were all thinking and hoping for. So, once again, you do need organizations, and more times than not, organization was involved in any of the ones that were actually successful. So, I know I'm on my fucking soapbox here. I'm really ranting, but this is the thing that gets my goat. This is the thing that made me realize that, like, I believe in so much about with leftism and socialism. Like, I'm about that shit. But I hate the motherfuckers that are my peers sometimes because all they want to do is whine and cry and say, oh, more people gotta die. But you don't have any plan. You don't care enough. You just want to eat your jalapeno poppers just like the other guys on the other side. There's no difference in the people that you're hating on a lot of these situations. So once again, if you really are about it, just do more. And I'm not saying do violence, but do more, okay? Like, actually put your shit on the line if you mean it that much. Otherwise, like, boo. Guess what? There's a fucking place in Tomato Town for you, too. Anyway, I got one more thing I wanted to cover. Technically, this is good news. I feel like maybe you could say, hey, we got 2 good news, half good news. That's kind of rare, huh? No? Anyway, let's take our last break, and we'll go ahead and close it out. I'm quite parched. Ooh. Okay. Excuse me. From CNN, American detained by Taliban in Afghanistan is freed in deal mediated by Qatar. An American citizen who has spent more than 2 years in detention in Afghanistan was released on Thursday and is now on his way to the United States, U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said. George Glezmann, 66, was released after weeks of negotiations led by Qatari and U.S. mediators. Today, after 2.5 years of captivity in Afghanistan, Delta Airlines mechanic George Glezmann is on his way to be reunited with his wife, Alexandra. I think it's Alexandra. Yeah, we're going to say Alexandra. Rubio said in a statement. A U.S. official told CNN that no one was released in exchange for Glezmann. A source with the knowledge of the situation said that negotiations had been going on for weeks and that a breakthrough was made by Qatar during a recent meeting with the Taliban. U.S. hostage envoy Adam Bower had also been in close contact with his Qatari counterparts to secure Glezmann's release. Bowler and former U.S. ambassador, to Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, traveled to Kabul on were accompanying. I'm assuming they meant and were accompanying Glezmann on the journey back to the U.S. Let's go scroll ahead. Now, this is supposedly a goodwill gesture from the Taliban. I always find that a bit strange. I find it even more strange when we're dealing with the Trump administration, because what goodwill do you think you're actually carrying with Donald Trump? This is a guy that if the wind blows just the way that he doesn't like, he will just fucking turn on you. He does not care, but I mean, hey, by all means, do your thing. And obviously, if it leads to like someone, getting freedom, all right, cool, dope, we love that. Glezmann was detained by the Taliban in December of 2022, some 16 months after the group retook control of Afghanistan, and was declared wrongfully detained by the U.S. In September 2023. He had traveled to Afghanistan for a 5-day trip to explore the cultural landscape and rich history of the country, according to U.S. Senator John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, who campaigned for Glezmann's release. The two lawmakers from Georgia, Glezmann's home state, said last July that he was held in a 9-foot by 9-foot cell with other detainees and had been held in solitary confinement and underground for months at a time. He was given very limited resources, only 7 phone calls totaling 54 minutes with his family. He didn't get any consular visits during the whole time. That's very fucked up. That's very rare to be in that kind of situation. Like usually you at least get some kind of contact, but this is an added situation because we did this whole thing where the Taliban have now taken over and now we're not really fucking with them. We don't have any kind of consulate there. There's no embassy or whatever there, right? So there's no clear, clean ways of communication. And we got beef, so, I mean, that's definitely led to a lot of issues with there's been a lot of issues with just, obviously, prisoner swaps and stuff like this. And now I want to get to this highlighted portion before we close out. Glezmann is the 3rd U.S. citizen to be freed from Afghanistan this year after Ryan Corbett and William McKinty were released in a prisoner exchange in January. The deal to release Corbett and McKinty was struck in the last hours of former President Joe Biden's time in office after the Taliban agreed to swap them for Khan Muhammad, a Taliban member who was serving a life sentence for narco-terrorism. I feel like that's becoming more and more popular of a term, in a U.S. prison. That agreement was also facilitated by Qatar, which hosted several rounds of U.S. negotiations with the Taliban and also provided logistical support to the operations to get the pair out of Kabul, according to multiple people familiar with the details of the swap. I don't know if I covered the other two, that exchange. Maybe I did. It's probably in the milieu of news, in the news cairn that I have here. Maybe I didn't. So I'm glad I at least got to mention that highlighted portion. Let's see. There's also, I think, another prisoner as well. Another American held in Afghanistan, Mahmoud Habibi, to be a part of the deal and expressed disappointment at the time that the two weren't handed over in January. However, they said they couldn't turn down the offer for at least Corby and McKinty. The Taliban have never acknowledged holding Habibi, but the U.S. still considers him a hostage. Ahmed Habibi, one of Muhammad Habibi's brothers, said in a statement that the family was grateful that George is about to be reunited with his family. So at least, they're positive, they're optimistic there. Hopefully we get more stories like this. I will say, I guess you can throw up a little bit of a silver lining. At least the administration is doing the textbook thing of saying, hey, I want to get as many hostages released, period. You know what I mean? I want to keep that going. So yeah, there's that. It's good that you're seeing progress in that regard. But, I'm not going to give too many tip of the caps to this goddamn orange fucking empire. No. Not today. Anyway, that is where I want to leave it. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Become a newsie today. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. Feel free to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials. Subscribe to the YouTube. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Spotify. Leave a like, leave a comment. Sharing is caring. I always appreciate that. But really, I don't say this enough. I always should say this more. Thank you for listening. It really is just nice to once again say this into the void, and know that I'm not the only one hearing it back. It really thanks a million for that alone. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.